In 1944, George Stinney Jr. was just 14 when a rush to judgment sent him to his death in South Carolina's electric chair. Convicted in the murders of two little white girls, Stinney's trial reportedly took just 3 hours. The all-white jury deliberated just 10 minutes. Now, 7 decades later, attorneys for the Stinney family ask for a new trial to clear his name.
George Stinney could not have committed these murders. I think George Stinney saw those children, but I don't think George Stinney was the last person to see those children.
The bodies of 11-year-old Betty June Binnicker and 7-year-old Mary Emma Thames were found in a ditch in the small town of Alcaloo. A coroner's report at the time described a brutal beating. Multiple severe head injuries suggested the killer used a blunt instrument about the size of a hammer. Family of the victims still believe Stinney was guilty.
They had no choice in how they died, and he did. And I think that justice was served according to the laws in 1944 when this happened.
In the few records that still exist, Stinney allegedly confessed, even told police where to find the murder weapon. During the trial, his attorney called no witnesses, asked no questions, and filed no appeal after the young boy was sentenced to death.
How did I know?
Today, Stinney's siblings testify the teen was innocent, with them the entire time.
And I want to clear the air. We are not allowed to go any place without my mother's permission. They were very strict with us. We could not go no place, nowhere.
And listening to the family on the stand today, they draw a picture of a case in which critical evidence seemed to be completely overlooked in this rush to judgment. They pointed out in a crime like this, there would have been a great deal of blood, and yet they found no blood anywhere on their brother's clothing. Don?
The obvious question, David, why did it take 70 years for this case to go back to court?
This was a very slow-moving thing, but it continued to build over the decades. At first, the family was afraid to speak out. They actually had to leave their home. The siblings were talking on the stand today about how they had to leave in fear that a mob might show up to do them all harm after their brother was arrested. So they left in fear and didn't talk about it for a while. But they continued to keep the conversation going, and it took decades for them to find people to listen, to be curious, and to actually start doing research on this. They actually came up with some potential witnesses to bolster their case, including one man who was the cellmate of their brother, who said the young man at the time said that he did not do this and that he was forced into a confession.
All right, shalawam. All right, first off, I want to say all praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, rakah, kudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of GMS, and to the elect doing the work in sincerity and in truth. Shalawam. All right, my name is Nazar Khud. This is GMS Precepts, and this is another series, another edition of Never Forget. Now, as you can see in the video, you see George Stinney Jr., who was the youngest man executed here in America, or within the century, or within the 20th century. Okay, and it took 10 minutes to convict a 14-year-old boy who was 95 pounds of murdering 2 girls with a blunt force object and carrying their bodies 20, 30 yards away. Okay, and they had no evidence on them. They found no blood. To kill 2 people and have no blood on you, I mean, come on. This situation is an obvious situation where they just wanted a scapegoat, and at that time, and still today, there's no better scapegoat than you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Let's just blame it on a nigger. Okay, let's just blame it on one of these Israelites because we'll get away with it. And this was an obvious situation because 3 hours after he was caught, or he was brought into custody, 3 hours later he was executed. The jury decided that he murdered him in 10 minutes. And by the end of the day, he was executed. This is the obvious situation. And also it shows you the flaw, okay, in America's judicial system, man. Okay? It's no different 70 years ago, and it's no different today. This system that we live in, this judicial system that we live in is flawed. So the scripture I'm going to get, this is not going to be a long video. The scripture I'm going to get is in Isaiah 10:1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." Now, the word woe in Isaiah 10:1, that means what? Destruction, man. Destruction is going to come to the people of Edom, okay? The people of Edom who write these unrighteous laws, man. You see, in the scriptures, there's no unrighteous laws. The law is perfect. In this society that we live in, They've got 10, 11, 12, 14. Like, they've got so many amendments, man. An amendment is a correction. There are no amendments in the Bible, okay? Okay, everything in the Bible that the Most High created, the laws, statute, commandments, the civil laws, the dietary laws, they're all perfect, okay? But not in this fucked up society, all right? It says, verse 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people. And that's what these laws do. These laws are targeted. They're geared to continually keep you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in slavery. Okay, hence the 13th Amendment. That show, that documentary on Netflix, it showed that. It proved that. Okay, all right. They would just change the definition of the word slave. We'll let you niggas free. We'll just change the definition of the word slave and replace it with criminal. So if you do get caught in a crime, we're able to label you a criminal and then strip you of your rights, and you're owned by the state that you committed the crime in, or so-called crime. That's why the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, or at that time it was, well, this is 70 years ago, but that's why Israelites, we got caught with trumped up charges, man. Okay, I'll finish this up. It says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the people. To take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay, so that they may rob the fatherless, man. All right, it took 10 minutes to convict this dude. This dude was 14 years old, 95 pounds. There's no way. There's an obvious situation where they just wanted a scapegoat. All right, 95 pounds. He wasn't even tall enough to sit in the electric chair, so they had to put a stack of phone books for him to sit on. You crackers are gonna pay. You are gonna pay. Okay, you are gonna pay for you. The scriptures talk about you paying double. You are gonna pay for this. Okay, as I'm getting a little excited. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. Lord willing, you brothers are edified. Until the next show, shalawam.